Hi all, welcome to episode 2, take 2. Fred and I want to welcome you to our channel. The reason this episode is take 2 is to keep things brief. My original recording did not do well on the upload and kind of was not worth the trouble of editing down. So basically, I'm here trying something a little bit different. The first episode, episode 1, was rather long, and I basically wanted to try to put everything that I do into one episode, and I don't think that's going to work. One, I'm sure some of you watch these like I do for content and not necessarily for all the things, but you're looking for something in particular. So I think what I've decided to do is I'm going to divide these up and alternate back and forth between my different crafts. So I will somewhere in the description or in the title, the episode title, maybe give you some clue as to what will be discussed. My two main crafts are knitting and cross stitch, and sometimes there's a lot more of one than there is of the other, but I think this second episode I want to keep kind of shorter, so I don't have much knitting to discuss, but I do have a little bit. I actually in the original episode 2 didn't have any at all, so I've actually knitted some, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And then I will record the next episode and cover all of my cross stitch related stuff. And hopefully that way, if you want to see both, it's kind of broken up. If you're only interested in one or the other, then you can just tune in, you know, for the even episodes or the odd episodes or however this ends up working out. I also do some sewing, but most of my sewing usually is related to one of the other two crafts. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a project that I did work on here recently that is kind of related to my knitting a little bit. So that'll be in the episode later, but I don't anticipate having a lot of sewing to discuss unless it's related to a finish or a project that's been done to support one of my other crafts. So this is a knitting episode. So today I'm just going to kind of cover some of the stuff that I've worked on, some of the plans that I've got for the month of February, and some of the things, long-term plans I've got as well. So let's get started. First of all, I will cover some of the things that I talked about in my last episode. One of which is the Blurry Flurry hat I was working on. It's actually the second one that I'm doing. And previous to this, I did one that I absolutely loved by combining this pattern is by Cozy Up Knits. And it's a pattern designed for, I believe, like a sport weight or a worsted weight yarn. But most of the yarn that I have is fingering, so what I've been doing is combining either a DK and a fingering on my first one, or in this case, I held double or triple, basically, 3 fingering. So it's 2 of this yarn right here, which is a knit crate, an older knit crate yarn. It's a Vitellana that I believe the color is called Dusty Rose. I'll link my Ravelry page in the description below, so that way you can see all my projects and you can find like this project there and you can see the yarn that I'm using. So in case I don't get it quite right. But I'm basically holding 2. So I've actually got 3 strands here that I'm holding together. I don't even know if I can capture that very well on camera, but 2 of them are the Dusty Rose, and then a third is just a Manos de Uruguay Allegria That's just in black. So last time, all I'd had done was just a little bit of the brim, and this pattern is designed to either make a 3-inch brim so it just lays flat, or a 6-inch brim that you can roll up. And so here you can see, this is what I've done since the last time you saw it. This is where I stopped last time. That's all I had done, was about 1.5 inches of the brim. So I got another 1.5 inches of the brim done, along with probably another couple of inches, 2.5 inches of, I probably got about 5 inches done. And you basically work the pattern an additional 5 inches before you start the decrease. So that's where I'm at so far. And these are done on a 5mm needle to start, and then you switch over to a 6mm needle for the body once you get past the brim. So, and these are just a set of, I think, Knit Picks interchangeables. So that way I could just switch out the size of the needles without any issue. So I've gotten a little bit further on that. That 2 or 3 inches didn't take me very long at all. And so yeah, the next time I pick that hat up, I'll probably be wrapping it up. It won't take me but a couple of hours more to finish it. I think I mentioned in my other episode, my other Blurry Flurry was like less than a weekend to do. And so yeah, so it went really super quick. And so this one I'm hoping is the same way as well. So yeah, I really like this hat a lot. It's meant to be a gift for somebody, but we'll see how it works out. Oh, and if you're curious, I haven't quite decided yet, but there will be a pom-pom on this. So I'm either going to do this pom-pom here, which more or less matches the color of the Dusty Rose yarn, or just a solid black one. And these came from Joann's. These are the Buttercream brand, and I think these are they have a couple of different sizes. I think these are the larger ones, and I don't know, it doesn't say on here what the diameter is, but they have some smaller ones and then they have some bigger ones. So I couldn't quite decide, but I had those two options. So we'll see when it's done which one I like better. And it may also depend on if it's for me or if I do end up giving it as a gift. So in addition to that, I also have the Patons SOCK-A-LONG. I just got the second of 3 pattern steps just this over the weekend. There are only 3 sections, and the first section is basically the cuff to, the cuff and the leg, and then the heel. This second email was the heel portion, and then I think the third will probably be the foot and then the toe. But it's a really great deal. It's kind of they list it as an intermediate knitter pattern, but I was hoping to do it just to maybe improve my sock knitting skills, maybe pick up something new. I haven't really seen anything new that just speaks to me or whatever, or jumps out at me as far as a new technique or anything like that. And they are cuff down, of course, because the way that they're written, the way that they're issuing the sections of the pattern. But they are there are 2 versions. There is a knit and a crochet version. And in doing my research, when I signed up for the SOCK-A-LONG, they kind of gave you some information about the type of yarn they were going to be using, as well as the amount of yarn you would need. And I think it's done like a small, medium, and large. And I was definitely on the large side as far as these, if I was going to knit these for me, which I think I am. But this is the sock yarn that they are that they're using, that they recommend. And it just happened to be Patons was some sock yarn that I had in my stash. However, though, I always purchased these Croy socks in sets of 2, and I had to go to Michael's. I was looking for some stuff, and while I was there, they were doing their sock yarn. I think their lightweight yarn was all like buy one get one 50% off. So I went over there because all I was going to need for the large pattern size, they said you would need 3 of these. Well, come to find out, and this is the color I had, the slate jacquard. When I got to looking at the ball band, I kind of took a picture so I knew what the colorway was and whatever. This is a 2015 dye lot. So when I got to the store and I saw what was on the shelf, it did not match this at all. Like, I was pretty sure that I was going to have a third ball of yarn that was going to pool and look just like a completely different color from this. So what I opted to do instead, and I hope this works out, is I got just a solid, this is called Gentry Gray. Same sock yarn, obviously different ball band because they've redesigned their ball bands, but I'm hoping, as you can see here, that this will work out really well as heels, toes, and cuffs. And then this will be just the leg and the foot, you know, the body of the sock. And because they were buy one, get one 50% off, I got a second one just to have it. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need it. I don't entirely know because I haven't started yet how much yarn I need in particular. But what in my mind I'm thinking is each one of these will comprise the body of each sock. And then I'll have plenty left over to do heels, toes, and cuffs. So that's my plan for that. This isn't a priority knit, obviously. And I'll have the third and final part of the pattern at the end of the week. But this is something I'd like to do. And part of my planning for the rest of the year, talk about this for a minute, is I have decided that I'm going to try to knit a pair of socks a month, January excluded. I was taking another look at my Ravelry challenge, which I discussed in the previous episode, that I had set a goal similar to my last year's goal of 24 projects completed for the year, and that meant, you know, averaging out 2 a month. I did my test knit and finished it in January, so I consider January, you know, okay, fine. But I got to looking at my journal and all the socks I had planned, and I actually have enough socks, including that sock-a-long, that I probably have 9 or 10 pairs of socks just by themselves that I would like to knit this year. So if I do a pair of socks a month, I will be pretty close to my halfway to my challenge, and then that will leave me things like my hat. I got another hat that I'll talk about here in a minute, that will kind of fill in the gaps, and I may not get to my 24 this year, and it's just a challenge to try to, you know, push me, but it's not, you know, unachievable, but it's not, you know, set in stone either. So, but that's kind of my plan, is I think I'm going to do socks, at least a pair a month. So I'm hoping the sock-a-long will be my February socks, and then that maybe will help me get back in the sock knitting mood, to either finish up my other magic heel sock for myself, finish up my other blue striped sock, to get that set done, along with the other ones on my list. So hopefully throughout the year this year, you guys will get to see other socks that I'm working on. So, and then the third and final thing, and I actually have it kind of put together back here. Nomadic Knits, if you aren't familiar with them, they're actually a company. It's kind of hard to explain. They're kind of in this genre of pattern designer / magazine / you know, influencer type company, but essentially they put out, I believe, like a monthly or a bi-monthly or every other month magazine. I think it's a digital publication. I don't think there's a paper copy, but there might be. I've never actually seen one, but they in their publication, they feature designers from different parts of the United States or Canada or, wherever. I'm sure they've probably done issues outside of North America, but to my knowledge, I can't think of any off the top of my head. But anyway, but I signed up for their newsletter, and for the month of February, they're doing a knit along called the Lonely Hearts Club, and it's basically the weekend of February 13th through 15th. And the pattern, I believe, is already out there on Ravelry. I'll put a picture up here just to kind of show you the pattern. But essentially, they are doing like a bulky knit hat, which kind of like this blurry flurry should go pretty quickly, because the bulkier the yarn, the fewer stitches you have, and the faster you get moving. Well, again, I was trying to come up with a yarn that I thought would make a good hat, and that I think, like I said, I'll put the picture up. I think the yarn that they use is kind of either a tonal, or if it's variegated, it's very subtle variegation, because it looks like a solid color hat with a pom-pom. But I'm actually choosing something a little bit different. I am going to hold triple again, similar to my Blurry Flurry, a DK that's Blue Moon Fiber. This is from my stash, but the colorway is called Love is a Battlefield, and it is one of my favorite songs. Basically, it is 100% merino, and it's not super washed, so I have to be careful. It has to be hand washed. But this, I think I got on a vacation. This was like a vacation purchase from a local yarn shop out in Oregon, I want to say, but out on the Pacific coast. So so what I did was, this was a really, really big skein. This is what size it is. So this is, I don't know if you saw before on the ball band. This is 765 yards of DK yarn. So it is huge. And this is, I bought 2 of these, and I don't know what I thought. I guess I thought I was going to knit, I don't know, a sweater for a horse or something. No, not really. But it's absolutely pretty, right? Well, because this is DK and my Lonely Hearts Club is calling for bulky, what I ended up doing was doing a little bit of math. So this is 765 yards or 255 grams. So 255 divided by 3 was 85 grams. So that's what I did, was I got out my little scale and I wound up a ball till I got to about 85 grams. And I have my 3. So I'm going to hold this triple again for the hat. And then, and what's kind of funky, or not funky, but I knew this was going to happen. I mean, there's no way to plan this, but I noticed like these two are pretty close, like similar light, light yarn. This one's not. This one's very dark gray. So it'll be interesting to see how this hat turns out. But, and then in addition to that, that's my pom-pom. Really bright pink, but really pretty. It'll make me really, really, really happy. And we're supposed to have like, I don't know, supposed to get down to the 30s again here in Texas, North Central Texas, this weekend. So, yeah, this might be a nice thing to knit up when it's cold, for Valentine's Day. So those are my plans, my knitted plans for kind of this week, this month, and into the future. I'll talk about a few things that I got in the mail. One thing I got a while back, which I kept hoping, I have a couple other things coming, but if you're familiar with Lady Di Yarns, they do a lot of colorway clubs and stuff related to like television shows. I think they do a monthly, I think it's a book yarn club. Like, because the reason why I say book is I know the next one that they're doing, or the one that's maybe they're doing a pre-order for March, is with Casapinka, and it is for so Casapinka's designing the pattern. Lady Di Yarns is doing the yarn, but it's inspired by Anne of Green Gables, which is kind of cool. So anyway, a while back they did, so I think this was January, mid-January, they did a Schitt's Creek knit along, make along. I don't know I think it was just knit, but they did, if you're not familiar with the show, you should be. They're like, it's been like everywhere here lately, but it's, as a matter of fact, Daniel Levy was just on SNL, I think, and I think his dad was too, Eugene, but they played the Roses, and they are kind of a high society family that falls on financial hard times, and the only asset left to their name is this town that they bought out in the middle of nowhere called Schitt's Creek, and they have to live in the motel, the rundown ratty motel and whatever. But anyway, so Lady Di Yarns did a Schitt's Creek cowl with a pattern, and forgive me, I cannot remember who the designer was of that pattern, but it was a sweater that was basically designed to look like a sweater that David Rose would wear, which is Daniel Levy's character. So anyway, I didn't need any more yarn, would have loved to participate in the cowl, and I might go back and buy the pattern if I feel like it, but I couldn't help myself in buying these stitch markers. So if you watch the show, this is one of what would be one of David's sweaters. This is, the sister would always say, "Ew, David." That was a big part of the show. The Rosebud Motel is where they stayed, where they lived in the small town. And then if you're really familiar with the show and have watched all 6 seasons, the Fold in the Cheese is an episode where Catherine O'Hara's character, the mom, Moira, and David decide they're going to make her mother's enchilada recipe, but they run into problems because when it comes to time to fold in the cheese, neither one of them knows what folding the cheese means. So that show is just absolutely priceless. I hope it stays around for a really long time. I noticed Comedy Central or somebody has it in syndication, so I will stop down and watch it any old day. But it is, all of it I think is on Netflix now, so you should, if you haven't seen the show, you should totally go check it out. But I couldn't help myself, so I did this. And as a matter of fact, Lady Di is doing a Moira Rose like kit, and I did order that because that was it was a smaller thing. I don't think it's tied to a cowl or anything like that, but it was something that I thought would be kind of fun. And Moira, absolutely, Catherine O'Hara's character is simply just, she's just the best. She's just so over the top, but she is so wonderful. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to when that comes in the mail. In addition to that, I also got, this was a pre-order last year. The release date was the 26th of January, I think. And I didn't pre-order it simply because I knew when the time came I may have wanted to order it from a local yarn shop or something to support them. But when push came to shove and the pandemic and everything else, I just finally just ordered it online, from a bookseller or whatever. But this is, everybody was looking forward to this. It was kind of touted for a long time, last year. So if you're familiar with Tanis Gray, Tanis Knits, this is her official Star Wars book. So, this book is absolutely fabulous. And all the designers, like if you're familiar with Bad Wolf Girl Knits, that's her sweater. Tanis has done quite a few of them, but some of these are just absolutely fabulous. But I actually went on a Zoom, I guess you call it really a broadcast, but kind of a meeting. But Tanis actually sat down with several of the designers and talked about doing this book. Because if you remember back when The Mandalorian first came out, was it Crafty is Cool? Or somebody came up with that. Everybody's calling him Baby Yoda, but we're finding out now he's the child. He's not Baby Yoda. But came out with that Baby Yoda crochet doll. And I'm almost positive it's Crafty's Cool. But she didn't get in trouble, but she kind of got a cease and desist from Disney and Lucasfilms, because Disney, they are so protective of their brand and everything. So Tanis went through a lot of effort and work in working with, because this is an actual Disney, I don't want to say product, but Disney endorsed product. So she talked about all the stuff she had to go through, all the back and forth with the pattern designers and with Disney and all the layouts. And I mean, they worked together for like months on this, but she got their blessing and got their approval. So that to me is amazing, because Disney finally recognized there was going to be no way around getting people or stopping people from knitting, porgs and Yodas and stuff like that. But at least they were able to find a way to find a middle ground. So knitwear designers could make things that they love. Like this is absolutely gorgeous. Like this one. And this is really cool too, because like this is meant to look like his flight vest. And then she goes about putting, the original, they allowed her to use the original artwork from the movie, so you can kind of see where the inspiration came from. But it just gives all of us who are, and there are a ton of us nerds, geeks, that like our fandom, it gives us the opportunity to show off our love of movies like this. And at the same time, the production companies and the movie companies recognize that this is good. This is good for their image. This is good for their brand, because it means that they appreciate the fact that there are creative people out there, and there are people that are wanting to knit stuff that look at that pork, that make them happy, that they can knit while watching the show. It's absolutely great. So anyway, so I broke down, I finally bought this book. Yeah, there will definitely be things that I'm going to knit out of it. I haven't quite decided on what my first knit will be. But look at this Chewy doll. Isn't that just gorgeous? So cute. And the socks too, the Chewy socks. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so got that. That was exciting. Then I ordered from Charmed and Dangerous. And Noelle, super sweet. If you're a fan of Simply Serving, you'd be a fan of Noelle as well. And here's all of her info, if you'd like to follow her on Instagram or Facebook. And she's out of Austin, which I was kind of happy, a fellow Texan. And she, like Simply Serving, basically has to post when her shop update's going to be, because the minute things go on sale, you can't get them fast enough. So she does mostly polymer clay, stitch markers, charms, those kinds of things. So, so I got 2 because that's about all I could get before Etsy was about to shut down on me because everybody was going nuts on her shop update. But I did get 2 things I really, really wanted. One, like I said, speaking of the book, was Grogu, the child. Absolutely cute. And then the other one, kind of because Galentine's Day, I mentioned in my last episode, I'm going to do the Waffle Lot cross stitch with that came in my Black Needle Society box, the waffle thing, but I wanted to do a kind of Galentine's Day waffle stitch along because it reminded me of Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec. But then I started, I don't know why, but I had to get this, and this isn't cross stitch related, but, and I can't turn it around. There we go. It's a little waffle. It's a little waffle with hearts. So this may actually end up going, since I will be doing the Lonely Hearts Club hat on Galentine's Day, which is the 13th of, it's the day before Thanksgiving, good Lord, the day before Valentine's Day. So I may just end up using my waffle while I knit my hat. So, and I think she gave you the option of different kinds of, whether you wanted a ring or a lever back or a lobster claw, or so I opted for the lever backs. Yeah, just absolutely cute. Absolutely cute. They're so cute. But yeah, I kind of had to fight for these on Etsy. So, Noelle, you're a genius. I see why people fight over you. Turned out really, really cute, though. Oh, and she did also in with got a little bit of tea. So that's kind of nice. Be a nice little, nice drink in the evening when it gets cold and I'm stitching my hat or knitting my hat. Yeah. So other than that, the only other thing I really got was, I'm actually going to put the pictures here. I'll talk about them for a minute. The Clever Clove is another company, that I absolutely love their stuff. They have Henrietta the Hedgehog and then some of their other characters. And I don't know the cat's name, but the cat's what I went with this time. But, they do, they're a graphic design company, and, I used to be on this really big enamel pin kick, and I used to put them on my project bags, or I'd wear them on a cowl or a scarf that I was wearing during the winter, or when I was at work in the office, I'd wear like a cardigan and wear them on there. But I just have so many enamel pins now, so the pictures to show you, I finally had to sew like a banner to put all those pins on, because I don't get to wear them I don't go out a whole lot anymore to wear them in public, and I needed a place to display them because I absolutely love that I have them, so like the Clever Clove is one of those where I just can't help myself. But so the pins that I've gotten, I got these 2, but then I also got the sticker versions, because the sticker thing is, the pins, I can wear on me, wear out in public. The stickers, I actually decorate my embroidery floss boxes with. So this is one of the ones that I got from her, Powered by Yarn, which I also got as an enamel pin. And then I got this Knitflix one, which is absolutely adorable. And then I got, this is Henrietta. She does a lot of different, it's not just the knitting thing. She does, their reading and their outdoors camping, and their, riding bicycles, and their cooking or baking or whatever. So it just happens to be all the same things that I like to do. And then I got this home is where my stash is, which I also got this one as a pin. So yeah, so I was really happy with those. Okay, so then the last thing that I got was some stuff from Arne Carlos's web shop. They had kind of posted a newsletter, or sent a newsletter a while back saying that they were posting some of their holiday 2020 limited edition stuff, and so if you wanted it, you better go get it. And I didn't, why not, right? So if you followed along my Vlogmas, I got, this is to basically match the Advent calendar ornament collection. And one of the ornaments, I think the 23rd one, it was a profile of a Beetle, a Volkswagen Beetle with the car, with the tree on the car. So I got that sticker. I also got the matching tote bag, which is right here. Yay! Matching tote bag. And then I also got the t-shirt, but kind of already wore it. And it was a very, very well-fitting t-shirt. I was really impressed that they got the sizing. It's a women's cut, so it's cut a little bit differently from the unisex t-shirts, but yeah, it fits really, really well. So I've already worn it, and it needs to be thrown in the washing machine. And then I also got just a little sticker with them and Freya. So yeah, so that pretty much does it. I think I've covered everything I want to cover. That was all of my knitting related stuff. So the next episode you'll see me, I will cover all of my cross stitch, but it'll probably be in about a week or so. I've got some things in the mail. I've gotten some things in the mail, but I will do all that separately. So all the knitters out there can just watch this episode and not have to deal with all the cross stitch nonsense. I know there are a lot of people that do both. I know Two Martini Stitcher. She's primarily cross stitch, but she has a little bit of knitting. I know Michelle Bendy Stitchy. She's primarily cross stitch, but she does a little bit of knitting. And I think one of the newer floss tube people that I follow, Evelyn Across the Pond, she, as a matter of fact, I think she's only like 2 or 3 episodes in, but she just bought a kit to knit a blanket. So she's primarily cross stitch with a little bit of knitting. So, but I kind of think that, yeah, I want to do it this way. Keep these episodes a little bit shorter, hopefully a little less frustration. Get it uploaded to YouTube a little quicker, and then that way I can keep the content a little more specific, and then hopefully you guys can enjoy these a little bit more often. So I hope you guys are all doing well. You guys take care, be patient, be kind with one another, and we will see you guys later. Bye.